Okay, welcome back. Our guest is Bashir Maidugu. He's a special advisor on trade and investments to the Borno State Governor, Professor Babagana Zulum. He's also a member of the APC Presidential Campaign Council. Now, Mr. Maidugu, to come to your area, I'm talking about trade and investments. As you know, following the announcement of the victory of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, there were movements, positive movements in the stock market, maybe money market, that kind of a thing. In short, the business community felt reassured, so much so that whatever it is that such people would do that would depress the market, it looks like it was the very opposite that was done. And so we had positive movements on the market. So trade and investments, is that something you'd like to talk about? You think there's a new dawn? Of course, there is a new dawn for Nigeria generally, but in that area, trade and investments, do you see a new dawn?
I'm very happy about the positive movement of the Nigerian Stock Exchange upon the announcement of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the president-elect. It is a testimony to the fact that businessmen are happy. This is because, Asiwaju believes that the private sector shall be the driving force of an economy. Collaboration with the private sector is the bedrock of faster economic growth. Because we are in a system, a capitalist system, we have so much money in the private sector that are not being properly or judiciously used or put to proper use. Like, for example, in infrastructure, which is the sine qua non for economic development, infrastructure like airports, ports, roads, and so on, dams, and power infrastructure and so on, shall be developed fast so that we can have a fast economic development. And to do that, we need to actually adjust our laws, make it possible for the private sector to come and partner with government in a public-private partnership arrangement to develop those sectors. And Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu was the first governor to embrace the concept of public-private partnerships. Look at Eco Atlantic. Look at the development Lekki Phase 2, 3, and 4. All these, the master plan that embraced public-private partnership as the bedrock of Lagos State economic development was conceived by this man. And as we speak, Lagos has the highest number of PPP projects in Nigeria. The Lekki toll road is a PPP project. There are so many other things. All these institutions that he established, for example, there is an office specifically, the Public-Private Partnership Agency, that is taking charge of issues relating to collaboration with the public sector in infrastructure development in Lagos State. And not only in roads and ports and so on, also in social infrastructure, such as education, health, to collaborate with the private sector to set up clinics across rural and urban areas, making it easy for them, giving them incentives to set up clinics, in urban and rural areas, as well as schools. Spread private sector schools across rural and urban areas, thereby taking off pressure from the public resources, taking off pressure from public money, so that the government can provide quality education.
I beg your pardon. As you are speaking, there are pictures. Okay, I was just going to explain the pictures, but there are pictures relating to the times you were speaking about, going back all the way back to when he was governor in Lagos. There's a much younger, Bola Ahmed
Exactly.
Tinubu,
Exactly. Exactly.
So
this is what I'm talking about. We are envisaging, and we're hoping, and we know by the grace of God that we have a positive person in a position to put in place positive programs for the private sector.
I must interrupt you now
for the development of the Nigerian economy.
I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I must apologize to Emmanuel, who has been waiting in Benin, Edo State, to come on the program. Mr. Emmanuel, I'm so sorry. Good morning to you.
Okay, good morning, sir.
Please go ahead now. Thank you.
Okay, you mean I should go ahead?
Yes, please. Please go ahead.
Okay. First of all, I want to say congratulations to... good morning, sir. I want to say congratulations to Asiwaju. I want to also say congratulations to Asiwaju. Congratulations to the northern governors. I want to say congratulations to the northern governors that did the right thing to make Nigeria to be one.
Okay. I think we lost that call, but really, you got the meat of your message out. As you heard him, Mr. Maidugu, congratulating Asiwaju, but also now congratulating the northern governors. And we've spoken about that, the bridges that the man has built over the past 3-4 decades. If you want, his own personal infrastructure, which is actually better called networking. He is known up and down the land. He has served. He has made contributions up and down the land. So I suppose it's in order, that greeting. But he noted the governors, the northern governors, and without the cooperation of the northern governors and other peoples up and down the land, the victory wouldn't have been possible. So again, it's a matter of leaning on each other, building bridges, and talking about infrastructure. Since we're talking about bridges, it just reminded me about infrastructure. The administration, the current administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, has in no small measure moved that particular scale up, because the infrastructure that this administration has actually, provided can only be built upon by Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu for positive purposes to further enhance whatever his initiatives and objectives are.
Yes, the government of President Muhammadu Buhari, more than any other government before it, perhaps comparable only to the Babangida regime, has built infrastructure across the country. And the government has achieved a lot in the infrastructural development, and it's a work in progress, And Nigeria is a very large country, and infrastructure development is a very expensive venture. Unfortunately, you see, you have to have innovative sources of funding to continue to develop modern infrastructure in the country. We need to have, more roads, modern roads, even concrete roads. And the infrastructure tax credit scheme launched by the former Minister of Finance about 3 or 4 years ago, and the has actually helped in addressing some infrastructure challenges in Nigeria. This is an innovative venture, and I believe also there are so many other innovative ways of raising funds. For example, we have the pension funds. I don't want to talk about it, but I really have to, because the pension funds are idle funds laying in the banks, being used as stabilization factors in the banks. That is not what it should be. The pension funds should be used, put to proper use, productive use, by amending our pension reform act, the act that was passed that produced this National Pension Commission that reformed our pension during Obasanjo's time. We really need to amend it so that banks can be able to advance loans in excess of 2 years. As we speak, banks cannot be able to give long-term funding. Which, if you cannot access long-term funding, you cannot develop infrastructure. Infrastructure is a long-term investment. You should be having funds, credit for at least 10 years. Whose repayment periods will be at least 10 years. For example, if you want to build a toll road, it will take like 10 years to refund the credit obtained to build the loan. So presently, it is very difficult, if not impossible. Because our companies, those companies that are trying to go into things, will have to look for international funding. International funding in the Middle East, in Europe, and these international funds, they have conditions. They have conditions. The conditions include our rating as a country, sovereign guarantees, and so on. These are difficult things to actually access, to get.
Indeed. Again, so I've kept somebody waiting because I didn't want to interrupt you. Forgive me for doing so now, for butting in now. I'm so sorry. But Alhaji Quadri has been waiting in Ogba. Again, I must apologize. Good morning, Alhaji Quadri.
Thank you. Good morning, Uncle Lori. How are you?
Thank you very much. Good morning, sir. I'm fine, thank you.
Yes. Well, there's no what we need to say. It's just for me to correlate my principal, who is Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I'm the national patron for Bola Campaign Organization in Nigeria. He really worked. This is somebody that people have been bastardizing even from when Buhari was contesting in 2015 and 2019, when we were then Buhari Campaign Organization. And he remained focused since then and up to this time now. You will see people that want to rule any country. They have the preparation, even from when the time is too far from today. And yesterday now, he was pronounced the president of Nigeria.
President-elect.
We are happy. Elect of Nigeria. We are happy about that. Well, in Lagos, that we lost Lagos to Labour. It's not something that will be painful. It's just a way to ginger us so that we can work very hard for the Saturday 11th March election, so that we make sure that we win everything. If you could see the pattern, all the assembly, the Senate seats in Lagos, APC took all of them, and including the House of Reps in Lagos. But the thing is, what youth were voting for is just like Trump did in America, the last election of Trump. What they voted for was the jingle that Obi was dangling around, and he was able to manipulate them so to today. But what people are thinking that Igbo, it was because an Igbo man was on the ballot paper as president in Nigeria, and they all went for him, which was the tribalistic type of voting, which did not happen to our principal or to others. Because if you see the pattern of voting in the East, Obi got all the voting in the East, beating the two other parties or three other parties to it. The APC, PDP, and the NNPP. But in other areas, he won in other areas because the Igbos there were concentrating, and the youth were concentrating on the person on the ballot. You could see it's not that Labour is so strong. Labour has been around for years. At least Labour has been around for about 15, 20 years. It's not a new thing. And the people that were gathering before Obi left PDP during their primaries, that he could not win the presidential ticket from PDP, he left there for labor. The people that were gathering them, Patutomi, Professor Patutomi, Kwesele, and the others were the ones gathering. They'd be talking about third force, but they couldn't get it until he went there, and he went there personally. So me, I think it's not that labor is strong, so they should not get
well
in their head.
Okay. Thank you very much, Alhaji Quadri, for calling in. Yeah, thank you for your analysis. But you know, Asiwaju has this attitude. I'm sure I'm not telling you anything new. About being very accommodating. There are people from all over the country in Lagos, and I don't think nobody wants to change that in Lagos. Whatever the situation was, it can be worked at. Asiwaju himself has put out a statement on this, that the fact that he narrowly lost should not be the cause for any violence. Not that you have suggested any violence, but certainly AP is going to be, going back to the drawing board to see whatever it is that they need to do, just as the other party will also now be looking at things, and everybody will be sort of sharpening up their act. No doubt there are those who are saying that it will be different at that time, but that remains to be seen. But the important thing is that Asiwaju put out a statement. We've been speaking here about, I think it was Mr. George, who called in earlier that, look, things like tribe, things like religion, they can just go down there. They don't, yes, they exist, but they can just go down low on the scheme of things, as we say. I'm sure, again, coming to you, Mr. Maidugu,
yes.
Would you see differently?
Honestly, Mr. Polaring, yes. Yeah, I will just comment a little. Mr. Polaring, I believe the issue of religion, especially the issue of religion, will weather away with time. When we have development, we have prosperity, we have education, the issue of religion, no pastor or imam will influence your decision to vote a particular candidate. Okay? The issue of religion will soon weather away. It will just weather on itself. Because they will be preaching, people will not be listening. Already this is happening. Already this is happening. By the grace of God, with Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's first 4 years, we hope to achieve prosperity and some level of development in which the issue of religion will even be made more irrelevant.
Okay.
So as we go along,
let me quickly let me bring in Victor. I beg your pardon for interrupting you. Let me bring in Victor. Victor called in from Akwa Ibom State. He's our last caller. A fine morning to you, Victor.
Yeah, good morning to you.
Good morning.
And I really appreciate you people for what you are doing.
Thank you. Go on, Victor. We can hear you.
I want to congratulate the president-elect.
Okay.
I want to congratulate the president-elect. Yeah, the problem we are having in Nigeria is that we don't know what we are looking for.
That's a new one.
Where we are heading to.
Well, we have somebody who is going to help us now. The president-elect will certainly be helping in that regard, if it is that we don't know what we're looking for. Maybe we should take a look at his manifesto. Okay, he's gone. And in fact, okay, to return to you, I don't know where Victor would have taken it, but Victor seemed to be going along the lines of, maybe we've not made up our minds what we really want in Nigeria, to which I was, responding there. No, perhaps you should take another look at the manifesto.
Let me just state this. You see, as Nigerians generally, we have to look at ourselves and do the right thing. Whoever we are, we should be able to do the right thing. We should obey the law. We should pay our taxes. We should obey traffic light. We should be able to, understand that this country is ours and we have to take care of it. And for us to do that, we should do the right thing at all times. not at some time, at all times. Any opportunity that comes, do the right thing. And if you are doing the right thing, everybody is doing the right thing, we will end up doing the right thing all the time. And with the election of this man as our president right now, I think we have a very good opportunity to actually cross over from, say, a low-income country into a middle-income country. Yes, as it is now, you know, we're just crossing over. So we should support ourselves. If you don't support yourself, nobody will support you. There is no point crossing the Sahara to Europe. This is your country. There is no point trying to, you know, be a stowaway in a ship or in an aircraft. No reason. You have to stay here no matter your situation, improve yourself, do the right thing, see the opportunities near you. If you don't have any talent or skill, what you can do, for example, go to the market, you see some wheelbarrows, you know, kept, and these wheelbarrows are for hire, and they don't take money in advance. You go and work.
You can't say there are no
and
opportunities.
Finish your work for the day, come back and give them their balance. Maybe it's 500 naira, and you take your balance. That is work. At least for the meantime, for those that have,
meantime.
you know, are young,
I know you could,
that are not educated,
I've got to really
that
jump
are
in
not
now.
skillful.
I know you can develop this, and I know you want to develop this, but we've run out of time. We've run out of time, and I want to thank you very much, Mr. I didn't even say Alhaji, but I'm sure it's Alhaji Bashir Maidugu. I want to thank you very much for coming on our program. I wish we had more time. Thank you very much, and once again, let me join our viewers in congratulating you, you know, and your party. Bashir Maidugu, Special Advisor on Trade and Investments to the Borno State Governor, Professor Zulum Shetima, Professor Babagana Zulum, and member of the APC Presidential Council. Thank you very much for coming on our program this morning.